This video is about empathy and understanding and coping with death, losing a loved one, being the person who may be the one who's going to cross over. It's my experiences, and it's also looking at the experiences of others. And if you've been through it or you're going through it, it may help you. You know, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help. I can only talk about life from my perspective, but why you must also live life while you can, because you don't know when it's going to end. So I lost both my parents to cancer, mum and dad. My aunt, my dad's sister, died of cancer. My mum's brother-in-law died of cancer. So I'm not a stranger to it, and I have cancer, or I had cancer. I always say this, have had. I've done this in videos before. Had, because I'm in full remission, so I kicked the bugger out. And have, because they say mine is incurable and it will come back. So, but I like to say had, because as far as I'm concerned, I do not have it at the moment, and I'm be buggered if I'm letting it back into my life. I didn't go through all the hard work I went through over 2 years to go backwards. Touch wood, touch wood. So we'll see. Touch wood, proper wood, not me. Touch wood. It's exceedingly hard losing a loved one. And you know, we all know there's many different ways people can die. I'm going to stick to cancer because this is the Cancer Raven and it's about cancer. It's exceedingly hard losing someone to cancer, and I'm not diminishing losing loved ones or friends, whoever, for other reasons, be it soldiers in war zones or people in car crashes or suicide or any of the other multitude of reasons that cause people to die. It's all traumatic. It's all traumatic. I watched my dad go from a healthy looking living man to a near skeleton and then passing away. He'd had kidney cancer first, and they removed the kidney, and they said it was all gone. He was all right, minus the kidney, but he was all right. Phew, sigh of relief. I went to Australia originally as a backpacker, only going to go for a year. Met a girl, fell in love, got told by the authorities if I wanted to stay I'd have to marry her. We got married, didn't work out. And then in 1995, at the end of 95, I went back to England on my own, flew over on my own for holiday. And I went back and Dad looked normal, he looked normal. I thought he was, it's normal, go back, see my family, did all of that. And then obviously was going to fly back to Australia. And in the car, on the way to the airport, my stepmom turns around to my dad and goes, Michael, if you don't tell him before he gets on that plane, I will, and I will tell him now. And I'm like, what? What's going on? What's happening? I certainly wasn't expecting what I was about to be told. And he turned around to me because I'm sitting in the back seat. They're both in the front. She's driving, he's passenger, which I thought was a bit strange in itself anyway. Or maybe he was driving. I really can't remember. Does it matter? Not really. He turned around and he said, son, I've got cancer. And I'm like, but I thought I thought that was fixed. No, I have bone cancer in my shoulder. And I'm like, what? And he tells me this. I'm about to get on a plane and go back to my life in Australia. And I couldn't compute it. I couldn't compute that my dad had cancer. And the upshot of it was that it was bone cancer in his shoulder. He'd been told it would kill him because eventually it would navigate to the spine and that would be the end of everything. I think he'd been offered different treatments. He didn't want to do chemo, his choice. Hello, dog. He didn't want to do chemo. And he'd been given a couple of years to live. So I get on an aeroplane with all of this going on, going, what the hell, what the hell, what the hell? Fast forward to, I think round about, I don't know, August, September, October, 97, it's a long time ago, I can't remember, I probably blocked a bit of it out. I got a phone call from my dad. I was at a party in my house where I lived with my girlfriend at the time and her friend. We were having a bit of a small party gathering. Got a phone call. Someone brought me the phone. This is before the days of my personal mobile phone, like I'm recording on right now. I got brought a phone. It's your dad. All right, Dad. I go and I take it. So longly. I take this phone, hands-free phone thing, sit out the front on the front step. This is in Brisbane in Australia. And he said, you need to come home, son, because I'm going to die, basically. So I did. I went to England. And my dad had gone from this, beer belly kind of man, larger man. Well, he wasn't large, but just a normal looking middle-aged bloke, to a mere shadow of himself. He'd lost so much weight, his arm was in a sling. The bone cancer was eating him alive. And it was a massive shock, massive shock. And I went back and I spent time living at his house with my little brother and my stepmom, and then I spent some time living with my mum's house. She was like half an hour drive away. I needed that. I needed that to be able to get away. But I helped nurse my dad. His shoulder went black from the cancer, where it was in the bone. It went black. It was awful. I showered him. There were days when I was just him and me in his home. I'd put him in the shower. I'd wash him head to foot, like he used to do to me when I was a little kid. And it's what you do, I guess. I didn't really think about it. I just did it. And I nursed him. And my sister would come in, and I don't think my brother realised the extent of it until I think they'd shielded him. He was 13. He was nearly 14 when Dad finally passed, but he was, 12, 13. I remember one time they brought in a special bed for my dad because he was at home. It's one of these beds because he couldn't really move around so much. He deteriorated a lot in the few months I was there, from someone I could take out in the car and drive around to someone who would sit in the chair watching TV, constantly on liquid morphine because of the pain he was in to numb the pain. And sometimes, when he'd have it, he would zone out. He'd be, go on the nod like heroin addicts do. It's literally the same, basically same drug in it. His morphine was probably a purer version. It was obviously regulated and medicated and prescribed and all that. But I used to look at him sit in the living room chair in front of the TV, just on the nod and just zoned out completely. And yeah, sad, because he was a man of, life, really. And then this day they brought in this bed, and I picked him up out of his bed and I carried him like a child in my arms and carried him to my bedroom and put him in my bed. Well, his bed was taken out and this special bed was put in because it moved, so he didn't get bed sores. If you've ever seen these things, you'd know they kind of bits blow up and down. It's to help move the body so the person who's bedridden doesn't get bed sores. That's the theory behind it. I think it worked. It's a long time ago. And my brother saw me carrying Dad from one bedroom to the next, and he got really upset, as you would, because that's when the full enormity of everything hit this child. And children shouldn't lose their parents to cancer. They shouldn't lose them to anything, but they do. And the psychological impact of that is massive, and it took my brother years to get over that. I mean, maybe he still hasn't fully. I don't know. He's, what, 41 now or something. And I'm 59, so he'll be about 40. You know, maybe there's still psychological damage in there. I don't know. I'm not here to talk for him because, you know, it's his life. But I think he's done remarkably well from that and everything he went through to where he is now. I think he's been amazing. He's got 2 great kids. You know, awesome. Well done, Andrew, if you're watching. And it's this impact cancer has on people's lives, on families. It tears people apart. Some families don't survive it, you know, some don't, a lot do, some don't, you know, some it doesn't hit straight away. It kind of, that person dies from cancer, and then maybe a few months later there's this massive psychological impact on those that are left. Some people it hits straight away. For me, I got really angry, really, really angry. You know, that's what it did to me. It made me an angry, young, well, I was in my early 30s, an angry young man. I think that's young. Made me angry. I went back to Australia. I was angry. I probably shouldn't have gone back. I probably should have stayed, but I was confused and didn't understand and didn't. I went back to Australia. You know, I look back in hindsight and I'm glad I did, because I met Danielle, who I'm still married to, and we have a beautiful daughter who turns 19 in January, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. But, you know, life's a weird one. I watched my dad basically go downhill in front of my eyes. I wasn't there when he passed. It was my sister's birthday. I was out with my sister and my mum, and he died on her birthday. So every year when she has a birthday, it's also the anniversary of my dad's death. It's like, I'd say, for my sister Penelope, Pen as I call her, that's massive. That's like, you know, Dad, oh, bloody hell, Dad. You could have done it the day before or the day after, but no, you had to do it on her birthday. There you go. It's hard. And then a few years later, in 2011, my mum died of pancreatic cancer. I couldn't get back. There's a lot of different reasons, and these are discussions I've had with my sister, because she couldn't always understand why I couldn't get back. But last time I was in England, we talked about it, and I like to think we sorted it out. There was reasons that I couldn't get back. I wanted to, don't get me wrong, I wanted to, but I couldn't. So that was a hard one, because my mum died in March 2011, and I was on the phone to her as she passed away, or literally seconds before she passed away. And I remember my sister saying, "She's gone, John. Mum's gone." I think it's just one of the hardest things I've ever done. Was saying, "I love you, Mum, I love you, Mum," as she's passing away. I'm in Australia, she's in England, I'm on the phone. But the enormity of all of that was so supremely hard. I also remember my mum, in one of our phone calls before she died, when I was saying I was trying to organise to get back, and she'd, like me and Danielle and our daughter at the time, who was 4 years old, just turned 4, And our daughter, we'd moved to England when our daughter was 9 months old, and we moved back to Australia just before she turned 4. So she'd spent a lot of time in her little toddler years around my mum. And I thought, oh, maybe we should all try and get back. And I remember my mum saying, don't bring Kale. Come on your own. Don't bring Kale, leave her with Danielle, because I want Kale to remember me for what I was and not what I've become. And I think that act of selflessness by my mum has always stayed with me, because she could have gone, I want to see my granddaughter again. But she put my granddaughter, or my daughter, her granddaughter first. Don't bring her. Don't let her have the memories of me as I was. And yeah, my daughter's nearly 19 and she probably doesn't remember much about being, 1, 2, 3 years old. But she sees photos of my mum. When we call her Oma, because Oma, my mum was Dutch, so Oma's Dutch for grandmother. And my daughter still calls her Oma. And she looks at photos and she ain't forgotten my mum. She still remembers her Oma. And she remembers her for what she was, for when we were living there, the vibrant woman, old woman who we went on holiday with to Anglesey and, stayed at her house here and there because we were living in Brighton, my mum wasn't. And, going to Holland with my mum and my sister, my wife, my daughter when she was, And these are all things that are huge. It's huge. Watching both my parents go through cancer, or experiencing both my parents go through cancer, and then getting cancer myself. And when I was diagnosed with my cancer, my daughter was 15, and I remembered my brother and what he went through, and I made a conscientious decision to not do that to my daughter. And it's what drove me on. I was like, I am not bloody dying of this cancer. I am not. I don't care. You can say I've got less than a year to live. You can say I need to do this, that, and the other. Whatever it is, I'm not bloody dying. And every time I dipped and went down and thought I was gone or I was giving up, and my wife Danielle and other people would pull me back up, I'd look at my daughter and I'd go, no, Jonathan, you may not be able to live for yourself, but you bloody well live for her. And you do it. And you make sure you do it. And you don't let her down. And people say, well, you're not letting her down, you've got cancer. But for me, that's how I had to look at it. You will be there for her. And I am still here. And she's going to turn 19 in January. And she was amazing through my cancer ordeal. But it took its toll. It took its toll on her. And she's probably just starting to come back to herself. And that's a good thing. So when you watch someone you love go through cancer, and when you go through it yourself, it's so hard. And I remember thinking to myself, if I die of this cancer, I mean, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I had times where I was scared of dying. I have a great belief in an afterlife, not in a religious perspective, but my own. I'm not going to go in that now, but I have a great belief that our souls move on and do whatever it is they're going to do. So I'm not scared of that, but I was scared of not fulfilling everything I wanted to do in this lifetime. I was scared of leaving my family. I was scared of the process of dying too, I won't lie. I was scared of it being painful, if the cancer got painful. But at the end of the day, I remember thinking to myself, when I die, I'm gone. I'll cross over and I'm free of this body. I will be wherever my soul is, looking at whatever it's looking at. It's the people who are left. They're the ones who have to try and pick up the pieces. They're the ones who have to carry on. They're the ones who have to make sense of it all. They're the parent who has to tell the child why the other parent has died. They're the parents who have to, I think sometimes in the worst case of scenarios, who have to make sense of why their child died of cancer. How do you make sense of that? I don't know. I've never been through that. It's hard enough making sense of losing my parents to cancer, let alone a sibling or a partner, or a child. I can't get my head around that. I can't. And if you're going through that, or you've been through that, all I can say is I can only understand it from the perspective of losing my parents to cancer. And if I was to compound the pain even more, that's an enormous that you've been through. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you've had to go through that. So F cancer. It's a bastard. It really is. It takes lives, it destroys families, it destroys relationships, it's not just the taking of the person, it's everything it leaves behind in its wake. It's like a bloody tsunami or an earthquake. It just, or it's like these stupid people who start wars and drop bombs on innocent people. It's the aftermath. It's what it leaves in its wake. It's the knock-on effects. It's everything that us as human beings, really, we shouldn't have to suffer all these traumas, but we do. How we choose to deal with that suffering and that trauma, well, that's up to us. We're all different. We're all different. And that's why life is so important, to grasp it and do what you enjoy doing, because you ain't here forever. Your loved ones won't be here forever. Tragedy happens. People get the phone call where someone's died in a car crash. That's it, it's gone. And you start having all the regrets, the recriminations, the last thing you said to them, all the things you wanted to do with them. And cancer's the same. So if you've got cancer, through all the pain, all the suffering, all the fear, everything, try and grasp life as much as you can. If I went through a period in my cancer where I couldn't really, so was times I couldn't get out of bed. And so sometimes I get as far as the sofa. But I have a great love of English football, and I'm a mad Leeds United supporter. So I immerse myself even more in my football and my Leeds United addiction, and I watched content creators on YouTube who talk about Leeds United a lot. And I'm not going to favourite any of them here, but there was probably 4 Leeds United channels I watched on a regular basis. And guys, if you vlog, talk about Leeds United, you happen to be watching this, you help get me through. It gave me something to focus on. It gave me something to interact with about my beloved Leeds United as I sat in a house or in a bed in Australia, not being able to do much, and then just wanting to watch my football team and watch people talk about them. So you find there's things in life that gives you a joy, a pleasure, and it helps you to get through. And when you lose someone to cancer, you've got to find your coping mechanism. You've got to find what works for you to help you process the grief and the tragedy of it all. And there's different ways. Some people, have amazing family, friends. Other people join groups, whether it's online or in the flesh, where people can talk about all this stuff. And it's, but you do need to find a way. And this video really was inspired by someone, I'm not going to mention names, but by a couple of people really. Someone recently that I follow on social media, and their partner was at the end of his life and was transitioning over, and they put up a couple of posts about that, and I felt that bravery, the pain behind the bravery, everything with that. And it made me think about losing my mum and dad, and it made me think about other people. It's huge, huge. So big love to that person. You may or may not know I'm talking about you. You may or may not even ever watch this video, but big love to you if you do and you know, or to anyone who's in the process of losing someone, or has just lost someone, or not even just lost, has lost someone in the past. You know, big love. You're supremely brave for having to go through it. You're just brave for going through it, for actually living through the process. You're brave. You might not think you are, but you're braver than you think you are. You really are. And the other person I'm thinking of is someone else was from social media who I didn't really know. They lived in another country, but we chatted, you know, private messaged and this and that, because they had the same cancer as me. Unfortunately, they didn't make it. I remember one of the private messages they'd said to me, you know, talking about me and my journey, and they said, one of us has to make it. One of us has to survive, because it's important that people survive cancer. And I'm the one who survived, and he didn't. So I honour him, like I honour all people who've passed from cancer, because those of us who survive, we have to go on living. And so you've got to grab life. I have this thing where I say every second counts, which I got from somewhere. But every second counts. If you've watched the show, you'll know. It's a great saying. And I know a second is a fleeting thing, but seconds add up to minutes, minutes add up to hours, hours add up to days, days add up to weeks, weeks add up to months, months add up to years and decades and centuries. Not many of us live a century, but you know what I'm getting at. So every second counts. Like this right now, in this present moment where I'm surrounded by this sunlight and beautiful trees, and I'm talking to you, and it counts. It counts. You know, the bits where I stop and start, it all counts. Every second counts. This counts. So live life. Just over there, which you can't really see, behind the bamboo, there's a labyrinth. I walked the labyrinth. I've walked it. I've done other videos, did another here, but I walked the labyrinth. It's cool. It's just a moment, well, 10 minutes to myself. It's quite a decent sized labyrinth. Go into the heart of myself and come out again. Look up labyrinths if you don't know anything about them. It's a geomantic thing, and they're all over the world. Energy, earth energies get attracted to them. Anyway, that's another story. I'll leave that to the geomantic people to do on their YouTube channels. Go look up labyrinth and geomancy. You'll find a whole new world out there. So live life. You know, it doesn't have to be football. It doesn't have to be labyrinths. It could be whatever you enjoy doing. You might be a mad video gamer. I mean, actually, I'm a bit of a mad video gamer. I play a game called Overwatch. I love it. But you could be a mad video gamer. That may be your thing. If that's what you love doing, then do it. Don't use it as an excuse not to do other things, because, you know, we all have to do stuff. You know, life, there's the basics in life, like we have to make money and all of this. But life is there to be lived. Life, when you get to the end of your life, it's better to regret, I believe, things you have done than things you haven't done. I would rather do something and go, oh, bloody hell, well, that didn't work, did it? But at least I gave it a go. Rather than get to the end of my life and go, what if I'd done this? And what if I'd done that? What might have happened? You know, and I have been like that in my life, but now I'm like trying to change it. That's why I'm doing a YouTube channel. A couple of people said, you'd be quite good at YouTube. Well, I don't know how good I am, because I'm new and I'm not got exactly a lot of views yet. But I'm doing it because one, I wanted to do it. I thought it was a good idea. So I'm just going to keep doing it because I enjoy it. I have little gaps here and there, but I enjoy it. So if one person watches it or a million people watch it, doesn't matter. It'd be nice if a million people watched it, but it doesn't matter because I enjoy doing it. Because cancer is a big subject and I'm talking about it and I'm just going to keep talking about it. And anything that helps someone is a good thing. Please live life because you don't know how long you've got. You don't know how long your mum, your dad, your brother, your sister, your children, your friends, your loved ones, your cousins, everyone, the bloke you work with, the woman you work with, you don't know how long anyone's got because you don't. So when you have moments to be able to enjoy yourself, because we have a lot of crap in our lives that is not enjoyable, so you have to grasp the joy when it comes along, and you have to find the joy within yourself. That's the tricky part, that's the hard part. We can all have external joy, we can all go and buy a new TV or a new video game or a new car or go on a holiday, but they're fleeting moments, and you should enjoy all of it, but you've got to find it in here. That's the hard part. That's a different story. Internal joy. Got to work on that one, guys. All right. Thank you for watching. If you're on this cancer journey, if you have cancer or you're going through the journey, even if you don't have cancer, but you're going through the journey with someone who does, be it a relative, a loved one, friend, work colleague, whoever, whatever. I know your pain because I've been there on both sides of the coin. And I'm not going to say it gets easier, but it just changes. It changes. And you have to find the way to move forwards, as hard as that seems. I'm still trying to. But I work on it all the time. I'm not perfect because I'm not. I can still be a dickhead. And to myself as much as to other people. But you've got to work on your trauma. But also don't beat yourself up. That's important. Be kind to yourself, love yourself. Being kind to yourself helps you to overcome trauma. It's important. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Like I said, every second counts. Big love, guys. Thanks for watching the Cancer Raven again. I'm John. Bye.